Jealousy is an emotion that takes place when something we have is threatened by an outside source or a third person. And envy is an emotion that takes place when we experience an extreme desire to have something we lack or never had. There's a difference between the two. However, they are very closely related and they both reflect the lack of something. I would say that they both make people feel powerless in the situations. So like, let's say when our egos are tied into a situation, sometimes that brings about jealousy and or envy. It just depends what you're experiencing and with who. You can be envious of someone when you feel you lack their qualities or the achievements they gained. You know, for example, you always wanted a new house, but your neighbor bought a new house. You'd like to have that house. That's envy. Okay? You never had a husband, but you know, you really, really want it. It's an extreme desire to have something that you never had that sometimes leads to some maliciousness, a extreme pull to want to see someone suffer or hurt. It's a sickening force. It's toxic. Jealousy, on the other hand, you know, you may have had something. Usually it's relationships that suffer, you know, with jealousy. But you may have had a boyfriend or have a boyfriend or a husband, and the underlying fear that somebody is going to take this person from you stirs up the emotion of jealousy and causes you to struggle in that area. So in James 3:16 it reads, "For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder and every vile practice." One definition of disorder is a state of confusion. Vile is defined as being extremely unpleasant, morally bad, and wicked. That's pretty deep. Those are things that sometimes I think people just tie the two together, even though they don't have the exact same meaning, and then you use them wrong. You know, sometimes where someone's jealous, they may be using the term envy and vice versa. In James 4, verses 2 and 3, it reads, "You desire and do not have, so you murder. You covet and cannot obtain, so you fight and quarrel. You do not have because you do not ask. You ask and do not receive because you ask wrongly, to spend it on your passions." So we're going to have to check ourselves this week, because somebody somewhere is suffering with jealousy and envy. And they need to be delivered. They need to recognize that's what it is. They need to call it what it is and stop being in denial that that is exactly what you're suffering from. That is what you're experiencing, and that is what's causing you to be toxic. You're going to have to start praying for the fruit of the Spirit. Y'all, that's love, it's joy, it's peace, it's patience, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness. Those are all things that we should desire more and more every day. Less of ourselves and more of God. So many times you don't even have a reason to be jealous or envious of someone else, and yet you are. That comes from insecurities. Like I said, it also, fear is a factor in becoming jealous of someone else, because you are feeling that you may lose something that you have, that someone else is threatening the loss of what you have. So, you know, most people experience jealousy in some degree in their relationships, even if those relationships are good relationships. We just all can have a little bit of jealousy going on. But then you also have people in relationships who experience very toxic jealousy. The type of jealousy that leads to verbal abuse, sometimes physical abuse. And those are extreme cases of jealousy, but you know they exist, and you know somebody who's experienced it before. You know, if you don't, wait a while. I experienced verbal abuse, physical abuse in past relationships, and those things, or I had relatives to experience it, and even friends. So it's very common. It's really terrible, yet it's common and normalized. And people act like it's okay. Oh, if he's jealous, he loves you. That's a lie. It's not for real. That's not for real. That's not love. You know, trying to control you. The jealousy gets to where he's trying to control you and take you away from your family, take you away from your friends, and you are thinking he's so in love with me. That is not love. And then your fear that you're going to lose him, you continue to stay tied to him despite what it is you're experiencing, or her, because please don't get it wrong. There are women who too have issues with being jealous and can be domestic and so on and so forth, and we just, focus more on women experiencing it. But there are men who experience it as well. Let's see here. Envy includes at least 2 people, whereas jealousy includes at least 3.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is there has to be a thread, an outside source with jealousy in order for jealousy to really occur. Whereas with envy, you can just simply desire something someone else has that you don't have, even though, you need to work for that. You're going to have to pray for that. So we just think sometimes, I would love to have what they have, never knowing exactly what people go through in order to get where they are. Jealousy occurs in relationships of all kinds. We're talking friendships, families, work relationships. Really, any human interaction can bring about jealous spirits. Jealousy in churches where people are, or I should say envy, I'm sorry, because sometimes people are envious of each other, but they use the term jealous. So you may know somebody at church who seems to be blessed all the time. Every time you turn around, something good seems to be happening to them. However, you don't know exactly what it is that they've been going through outside of your presence. So when we get to see, we assume that's the only thing people are experiencing, when that is inaccurate. You see what people allow you to see. You don't get to see everything all the time. And so, we get tied up in thinking, oh, well, I'm not understanding how they have this, and this, and I never seem to be blessed. Or, she barely shouts, but she has everything, and I'm over here shouting my wig off, and I just seem to continue to struggle. But what if your heart's not right? What if you are jealous and envious of other people, and you don't even recognize that to be your case? So you're going to need to pray and ask God to bring to surface, especially if that's the case and you haven't recognized it or you're in denial about it. It's time to step out of that. It's time to say, okay, this is what it is and this is what I'm experiencing, because, people assume, oh, that's so bad. Girl, you shouldn't be jealous. Or, he shouldn't be jealous. Okay. It's not. What's bad is if you never recognize it and you never get delivered from it. That's the thing that's bad. If it is that's what it is. I've been jealous before. I've been envious before. Not because I wanted to, but because that's just how we are. It's not like that's something that you experience every single day, all day, 365. But it is something that sometimes boils up or bubbles up in you, and you seem to can't help it in the moment. But then you just check yourself, recognize that this is what's going on with me, and it is toxic, and I cannot live this way. And then at the same time, I really have no reason to feel that emotion towards anybody else, because I have the ability to work for what it is I desire. And then I also understand that if something is taken from me, it must be God's will 99% of the time. Probably 100, So in knowing that, then I need to take comfort and be confident in myself, in my relationships. Be confident in who you are and be open with your communication, because sometimes the lack of communication may stir up some things that it shouldn't be. And so you got to be able to openly say if something bothers you, or if you're jealous about something, you and your spouse or you and your mate should be discussing that, so that everybody is aware what's going on, and the other person can try hard not to make you feel inadequate or insignificant in the situation. Now, sometimes it's not even true, and you'll begin to feel that way, like I said, due to that underlying fear that people take on and have, and you're just stuck there. Let's see here. Hold on, y'all. I gotta make sure I don't miss anything. So, as I stated, you gotta be better with the communication to avoid the struggle of feeling jealous in your relationships. You want to take on a whole nother, role or a positive place. We get all stuck in being ugly and being negative to each other, getting, how would I say it? You're spending your time worrying about someone else all the time. That's what I'm trying to say. So you're spending your time worrying and feeling insecure about someone else and what they're doing and how they are so much better than you, with their achievements or with their physical appearance. And so you're desiring those things, but truthfully, those things are with you as well. Some people are very beautiful and they don't even recognize their beauty. They're mad at the next person because they think that person is prettier than them. That's not the case. And we have to learn to be confident and true to ourselves and tap into the light that resides in us so that we recognize we have no reason to walk around being insecure or jealous or envious of anyone else, because that is a suffering that you don't even have to continue to experience. It's something that you should be tired of if you are experiencing it. And so it's very vital that you realize that that is what you have going on, and that, God, I need to be delivered. God, I need you to help me. God, I admit this is what I'm experiencing and this is how I'm feeling, and I am sorry. Stop pretending that you don't have this going on. And no one's saying that, hey, that's the worst of the worst. But, it is bad. It is something that we don't need, especially within ourselves, because we can't function the way we should if that's what we're experiencing and we're suffering from. In the Bible, it says that envy causes the bones to rot. That's bad. Anything rotten is no good, right? We want to throw it out. And it smells horrible. So you'll have this stench about yourself that is not warming and welcoming and inviting to the positive things that you need to attract in your life. Because it's going to cause people to pull away from you. It's going to cause people to not want to deal with you if they recognize that that's what you're experiencing and you don't check it and you stay in that place. So this week, that's the assignment. Everybody, if you know somebody, y'all start praying for people instead of judging them, instead of talking down to them, instead of making people feel bad for the place that they are in the moment. We have to be better prayer warriors. We have to be consistent, persistent. Keep trying to help those who you love, those that you are surrounded by, and stop judging them. Stop ostracizing them and placing them in the back burner, on the back burner, acting as if what they're experiencing is not real and is not important, because it is. Somebody helped you to get through whatever it was you were experiencing, and in the same way, we too need to help other people. It's the only way for us to be. It's the only way for us to get things done. I am hoping you all have a wonderful week. I absolutely love you. I am always praying for you. I appreciate your support. Thank you for tuning in. I love y'all. That's what it is. Do what you do best, and that's being you.
Give a shout out. Give a shout out. You really want to get a shout out, man.
Shout outs this week. I want to thank Joan and Max too, Dan and Hope Copeland, anybody and everybody that attended the Jordan's Journey. Lennox Boone, and anybody else who came out yesterday in support of my son Jordan Oates over at the Greater Six Runs Missionary Baptist Church and donated, participated. Y'all, I appreciate everything y'all did, everything you are doing. The prayers are greatly appreciated. He is my stepson and he is coming through just fine. Leukemia ain't got nothing on him. I definitely want y'all to continue praying. Again, we thank you. We love you. Y'all have an awesome week.
And we should thank you for that awesome word to encourage somebody. Keep on
Thank you, sir.
encouraging, do what you will.